Hello, hello, and welcome to episode 104 of the Compassion and Cucumbers podcast. I'm Christine.
And I'm Sam.
We don't have a whole lot to talk about as far as like what we've been up to
No,
and stuff.
we really don't.
So I think we're just going to jump into, we can let you know where we'll be next, which is the Syracuse Veg Fest in Syracuse, Saturday, September 23rd. That's next Saturday.
It is a week from Saturday, so it's
Yeah.
not next Saturday. It's not this coming Saturday.
Right.
It's the Saturday after that.
Correct.
Yes.
And I wanted to remind everybody that if you're listening now, well, if you weren't listening, you wouldn't hear this. If you come to our booth in Syracuse and tell us,
I'm a pickle on the pod squad.
you will get a free sticker and,
A 15% discount on anything you purchase.
yeah, let us know you're on the Pod Squad.
Absolutely.
Yep. Say I'm a pickle on the Pod Squad. We'll be at the Panama Rocks Foliage Fest. That is September 30th and October 1st.
Yep. So 2 vending weekends back to back for us.
But other than that, we don't really have a whole lot to talk about. And I want to jump into it for the sake of time.
All right. Go for it.
We have a recipe from our vegan kitchen this week. So here's this week's recipe of the week. This week, I veganized a recipe that I've been wanting to veganize forever, and I don't know why it took me this long, but it's my mother's amazing meatballs.
Yeah, this was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, because your mama made the best meatballs.
She did. She used to like double and triple her meatballs because they would be such a highlight of like any kind of meal when she served them.
Yeah.
The meatballs would always go first.
Yeah, everybody would eat a ridiculous number of them.
Yeah.
Like without question. Like it was just everybody was going to go for the meatballs. Particularly the big event at which the meatballs were served was usually Christmas Eve dinner when we had homemade ravioli and the meatballs and all of that good stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, so they turned out fantastic. I veganized them. I used flax egg and some other things. And if you want to get the entire written recipe, you can get that on our Patreon by becoming a patron on our Patreon page. What did you think of this vegan version of my mother's meatballs?
I loved them. They were just like your mother's meatballs.
They were. When I made them 2 different ways because I wanted to try both in the oven and in a frying pan. Because in the oven is good. It saves time. You don't have to watch them.
Sure.
You don't have to keep turning them so that they remain ball-like.
Right.
But I like them in the frying pan better.
I didn't know that you had done them 2 different ways, so I had no way of knowing which was which if there were versions of both on my plate.
Yeah. And especially with the Impossible meat, that little bit of kind of a crust that you get when you do them in a frying pan, texturally is awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm really pleased with how it turned out.
Yeah, they were very good.
Yeah.
And of course meant that, we got to have for supper today some spaghetti and meatballs, a little bit of salad. And so that's always a good day.
Yeah, it was like my mom was in the kitchen with me today. It was really nice.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Gotta love that.
Yeah. And who doesn't love spaghetti and meatballs?
I've really never run into anyone who had an objection to spaghetti and a ball of some kind.
And you know what? These meatballs are really good without sauce.
Yeah.
If you just, right after you cook them, fry them or bake them, whichever way you choose, if you just eat them that way, they're so good. Just flatten them and make a burger out of it.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
Yep. I have a feeling, I'm imagining there are leftovers.
There are indeed leftovers.
And so I'm imagining that, tomorrow or Thursday or sometime in the very near future, we will be having those meatballs in another context.
Yeah. So the recipe makes 16 kind of on the large size meatballs. Not huge, but not small. So you could definitely make more if you made them a little smaller.
If you made them a little smaller, sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, there's definitely leftovers. We'll be having that again.
Cool. Works for me.
So that was our recipe. And that brings us to our noteworthy section. What was noteworthy this week?
So, according to an article from the Los Angeles Times, got milk Remember the catchy ads featuring celebrities with milk mustaches from the 1990s? The advertising campaign by the California Milk Processor Board has been revamped for the 21st century using social media influencers targeting younger generations, specifically Gen Z. It's one of several efforts by the dairy industry to encourage kids to drink milk, but it has an even more powerful tool to reach school-age consumers. Federal rules for schools participating in the National School Lunch Program that favor dairy milk over other beverages, including prohibiting schools from, quote, directly or indirectly restricting the sale or marketing of dairy milk on school premises. Marielle Williamson, a student at Eagle Rock Junior-Senior High School, found out about the U.S. Department of Agriculture restrictions this year when she was prohibited from handing out literature at school about the disadvantages of drinking dairy milk unless she also provided information about its benefits. Williamson is a vegan and decided she'd rather not promote dairy milk. Last week, she joined a lawsuit filed by the national nonprofit advocacy group Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, accusing the USDA, the Los Angeles Unified School District, and school administrators of violating her free speech rights. Good for Williamson to challenge the long-standing rules that unfairly protect the nation's dairy industry from competition. Williamson, 17, believes the USDA rules prioritize an industry's profits over students' health, considering that many students are lactose intolerant, a digestive condition that causes bloating, diarrhea, nausea, and other symptoms. It affects primarily people who are Black, Latino, Native American, and Asian American, according to the National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases. In California, the majority of public school students are part of these communities. Yet public schools are not required to offer non-dairy milk options as part of free school meals. They can provide water, but the USDA has made it clear that schools cannot encourage students to drink water instead of milk. Currently, students receiving free school meals can obtain non-dairy milk options by providing a doctor's note, a requirement that can be burdensome for lower-income families. It would make more sense if students could freely have these options without having to jump through administrative hoops.
Yeah, so kudos to that kid for taking it a step further and actually filing a lawsuit, because that is unbelievable that if a kid wants plant milk at their lunch, they have to have a doctor's note.
Yeah, I agree.
Unbelievable.
Well, no, actually, it's not unbelievable. It's completely believable. What it is deeply unfortunate. Yes, it's wrong. Yes, but it's completely believable given that, our schools are one of the primary ways that the animal agriculture industries, and by that I mean meat and dairy specifically, kind of get their hooks into young consumers.
Absolutely. And that is a perfect tie-in to what today's main topic is. Today's main topic is Big Dairy targeting our youth and dictating fast food menus?
Is this even a discussion? The answer is yes.
Yeah, but do you want to know more?
Well, always.
This ties into something we've been talking about in previous episodes, the dairy checkoff program. And the faction of US Dairy, USDairy.com, there's a faction called Dairy Management Incorporated. And what Dairy Management does is they determine how that checkoff money is used. And if you go to USDairy.com, you can find all sorts of articles about how they're using this money. This particular article is called The Evolution of Our Youth Strategy. And it's written by Marilyn Hershey, who is the chair of DMI. And it says, I miss the days when my beverage choices came down to whether I wanted chocolate, strawberry, or white milk. Today's kids have seemingly endless options when it comes to what they eat and drink, not to mention a steady flow of information and potential misinformation about food and beverages that come via global online connectivity that dominates so much of their day. I often wonder how they can make sense of it all. These changing dynamics have required the dairy checkoff to adapt how we reach kids. It has evolved to a more comprehensive youth strategy, which stretches into all the places they get information: schools, social media, and food service. It also has meant evolving our message beyond drink milk, it's good for you. Our checkoff-led research has shown young consumers are looking for food and beverage attributes that align with their beliefs. They want to know how the product was made and if it came from a good place. Here we go. They have new expectations with a powerful what's in it for me proposition and are seeking products that deliver unique benefits, which inspired our strategy to promote dairy's contributions related to immunity, calm, energy, and digestive health. So this is what they're focusing on. We carry this message into our expanding digital presence, and for good reason. On average, children 8 to 12 spend 4 to 6 hours daily watching or using screens. That figure jumps to 9 hours for teens. Because of their online engagement, dairy checkoff strategies are more present in various social media channels, and we are working with influencers and even gaming personalities who share their experiences of virtually meeting dairy farmers and understanding the true source of the dairy they enjoy. Schools are also turning to more technology use in the classroom, a trend that was accelerated during COVID. The checkoff leveraged this opportunity to help close the gap between students and agriculture, bringing virtual farm tours into the classroom and expanding online lesson plans for educators to connect dairy's health and sustainability to curriculum standards. So they're bringing dairy into the classroom.
Yes.
Not just the lunchroom. I'm especially excited about a partnership we're developing with the American Farm Bureau Foundation for Agriculture and Midwest Dairy to create an immense school-based program focusing on dairy. The teachers will meet farmers, researchers, nutritionists, veterinarians to learn how our cows are cared for and how technology and innovative practices are advancing sustainability. The goal for participants to use what they learn to craft lessons and activities to take back to the classroom. Though our social media strategies will continue to expand, schools will remain a core focus of local and national checkoff teams to reach kids. And we are working from a place of strength. The National Dairy Council, the NDC, and our state and regional network have built long-lasting relationships with school communities nationwide for decades, and that is no small task considering as of 2020, there were 130,930 K-12 schools in the U.S. and an average of 2,618 per state. Okay, I'm not going to continue to read the entire article,
Right.
But you get the gist of what's happening here, right?
What's interesting to me about both the article that you just read from and the one that I'm going to pick up here in a moment or two is how incredibly open
Yeah.
they are
Yeah.
about the fact that they are targeting
Yes.
young people
Yes.
as consumers. Mm-hmm. Like, it's kind of amazing.
Yeah. What struck me most about that particular article was where she talked about how they're going to be using buzzwords to link to dairy.
Yes.
Like calm and
Yes.
and energy and
Right. So the next article that I'm going to read from it's very similar, but also written by Marilyn Hershey, chair of Dairy Management, Inc., and it's titled Delivering Dairy to Gen Z's World. It's understandable if you don't know Twitch from Twitter. The social media world can sometimes seem like a distant galaxy for those of us who aren't Gen Z. Social media is their way of life. Consider this as the generation that has never known life without the internet. A cell phone is standard operating equipment, and social media to them is what a landline was for members of my generation. The channels Gen Z visits with great frequency may not always make sense to us, but it's where we need to be as a dairy checkoff if we want to engage them with the story of how we care for our land and our animals to produce nutritious milk. Gen Z has been a high priority target for the dairy checkoff, and for good reason. They comprise 20% of the population and have a spending power of approximately $100 billion, which does not factor the purchasing influence they have on their parents. They also have a different expectation of companies and industries than the generations that preceded them do. And maybe, most important, they'll one day be parents, if some aren't already, and they'll be making purchase decisions for what their family will eat. So it's critical we continue to build relationships with them. We need to be where they are and talk their talk, which is the goal of the Chekhov's recent launch of Reset Yourself with Dairy. Now, I'm going to click on this link right here because I want to see what we have. Oh my. So it looks like Reset Yourself with Dairy, okay, is a number of ads that are going to be tossed into YouTube and on Instagram and everywhere else that the Gen Zers tend to go. And I'm looking at 4 of them here right now. I'm not going to look at each. I'm not going to look at each one individually, but the heading right in front, right on top of these 4 videos is reading about stress, stressful, grab a latte, note latte, and chill with these videos. And the videos are titled Electric Skateboard, Dumped via DM, Essay, and Fun Fact. So all things that Gen Zers can relate to.
Clickbait for
Certainly,
Gen Z.
Clickbait for Gen Zers. Absolutely. And then down here also, we have on this website, it says, did you know dairy can do more than set you at ease? It can help you feel good inside and out. Immunity, energy, gut health. Yeah, just all of these things. And then they have a section, Reset Yourself with Recipes. Check out these easy-to-make, mouth-watering recipes for your dairy reset, from nutrient-packed smoothies to comforting meals at any time or season.
Yeah, and they're also giving that information in those ad campaigns. They're paying gamers who stream on Twitch and YouTube. They're paying them to push this agenda.
Yeah.
Which is, if I saw any YouTuber or Twitch person that I followed pushing this agenda, I would immediately click the unfollow button.
Right. And here, this is really interesting. So Reset Yourself with Dairy creates disruptive moments and focuses on 4 aspects of dairy's wellness benefits that Chekhov-led research found resonates and drives purchase decisions with Gen Z. So it's not about being honest.
Right.
It's about being clickbaity.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So these 4 areas are immunity, calm, energy, and digestive health, and can meet this generation's changing perceptions and behaviors for what they believe foods and beverages should deliver. It's just full on manipulation.
Oh, yeah. It's full on. It's targeted ads is what it is. And they're not being honest about the effects, the health effects of dairy, the environmental effects of dairy, not to mention the effects on the animals themselves.
Yeah.
No mention of any of that.
Yes.
Now, luckily, Gen Z, like she said, and I think both of these articles, they're looking into where their food comes from. They want things to be sustainable.
Right.
They want to be doing the right thing.
Right.
They want to try and save this world so that when they have kids, there's a world for them to live in.
They're certainly open to the idea anyway.
And they're taking advantage of that.
Absolutely. I mean, do you think, as mentioned in the previous article, do you really think that when they do virtual dairy tours, do you really think they're going to be using a factory farm for that? No.
Unlikely.
They're going to find a small dairy farmer in a picturesque location and, make sure everything is very, very tidy and very on the up and up. And all the cows are let out to graze. They're not in their holding cells.
Yeah.
So it's still 100% masking the truth. They're putting forward images that are going to be palatable to these young people, but not because it's the right thing to do, not because it's the honest thing to do. It's because of the potential for profit.
To sell to sell product.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so they are manipulating these kids
Yeah.
to sell product.
Absolutely. You want to jump down to the paragraph where she talks about Twitch and TikTok?
Sure. So I mentioned Twitch. This is a gaming platform that has about 15 million users a day, and our content will be shown there to continue the Chekhov's successful venture of working with influential, well-known gamers such as Mr. Beast that started last fall. You can learn more about our approach to reaching Gen Z through gaming by checking out our Dairy Chekhov podcast.
And I can tell you, I have some friends who have kids that watch Mr. Beast's videos. So
Our content also appears on TikTok, the fastest, most beloved social media platform among Gen Z, Instagram, and Snapchat. We also work with social media influencers who Gen Z find to be authentic. There are some other exciting aspects, such as a partnership with Kroger Digital and Instacart, where this content appears in their retail apps and mobile sites to remind Gen Z at the point of purchase to add dairy to their carts. And while these efforts involve social or virtual strategies, Reset Yourself with Dairy also had activations on about 400 college campuses, including on TV screens in recreation centers and cafeterias, proving an on-the-ground presence to be successful and effective in capturing Gen Z's attention wherever they're hanging out.
yeah, it's disturbing.
Yes, it's disturbing. And it's not just disturbing that they are, in fact, doing everything they can to manipulate the perceptions of these young people, but that the presence is so pervasive.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a ton of money to be used,
Yes,
and they are using it for sure.
absolutely.
Yeah. Now, they're also targeting the places that these kids eat. McDonald's, Taco Bell. There was another article on Pizza Hut that disappeared when I tried to link to it. So I don't know, for some reason, maybe Pizza Hut had them take it down or something because they're not utilizing what they had agreed with DMI to do as far as their like stuffed crust and all that was
Okay.
Influenced by DMI. So this one is Chekhov scientists help McDonald's USA create dairy-focused offerings.
This is also interesting. It does not come as a surprise to me because if you've ever seen the film What the Health, there is a rather entertaining scene partway through the movie where you've got a group of people sitting around a conference table who are figuring out how to make the next McDonald's product contain as much cheese as is humanly possible.
Oh, right. It's satire, but
Yes, it's satire,
yeah.
but it's honestly driven.
It's based in truth for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Dairy Chekhov scientists who work on site at McDonald's headquarters have helped the chain launch 3 items that continue its commitment to elevate dairy and provide customers with great tasting menu choices.
Now let's just go back. McDonald's has committed to elevating dairy.
Yes.
I'm assuming that DMI is throwing Chekhov money at McDonald's to make this happen.
I don't think there's any question about that. Yeah. Scientists working for Dairy Management, Inc., there you go right there, which manages the National Dairy Checkoff, collaborated with members of McDonald's culinary team to create the following items. McDonald's signature crafted recipe sandwiches and the Egg White Delight McMuffin will now feature sharp white cheddar cheese slices that are more than 30% larger than the pasteurized processed version previously used. The cheese will be available in all 14,000 restaurants by April 2nd. Celebrating this debut, a new signature crafted recipe, the Garlic White Cheddar, will be added to the signature crafted recipes lineup. McDonald's launched the limited-time offer McCafe Turtle Coffee beverage with advertising starting April 2nd. Consumers can choose Turtle Macchiato Iced, Turtle Macchiato Hot, and Turtle Iced Coffee. These beverages join a McCafe lineup that offers dairy in 90% of its items. And finally, McDonald's, in partnership with Coca-Cola, recently launched a line of ready-to-drink McCafe frappes at grocery stores nationwide. 3 flavors, caramel, vanilla, and mocha, are available, and McDonald's plans to expand its lineup later this year. So they're going in to compete with Starbucks, obviously,
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
the ready-made coffees.
Yeah. So that's what they're doing. Just some of the things that they're doing with McDonald's to push dairy on youth. The next article talks about, there's actually a number of articles that talks about Taco Bell. This one is the Quesalupa returns to Taco Bell thanks to dairy checkoff support. So they're dictating what is on these restaurants' menus.
Yeah. Absolutely. The one I have here is talking about Taco Bell unveiling dairy-based beverages with checkoff support. In this case, they're talking about Taco Bell's Island Berry Freeze and the Pineapple Whip Freeze, both of which use shelf-stable creamer created, and the recipe was created by dairy checkoff scientists.
To go back to the Quesalupa, is that even a word, Quesalupa?
I have no idea.
I think they make these things up.
Well, sure.
The Quesalupa is making a comeback to Taco Bell's menu, and this version is cheesier than its predecessor, thanks to dairy checkoff scientists. The Quesalupa made its debut in early 2016 as a limited time only offering, but it left quite an impression on Taco Bell's customers, said Dairy Management Incorporated senior dairy scientist Mike Ciresi, who works on site at Taco Bell's headquarters in Irvine, California. So what they're doing is encouraging Taco Bell to put more cheese in the Quesalupa.
That's right. It's not cheesy enough. Make it cheesier.
It needs to be cheesier, dudes.
That's right. Like another popular Taco Bell item, the grilled cheese burrito is returning to Taco Bell menus. This is a burrito that features a blend of mozzarella, cheddar, and pepper jack cheeses, in addition to sour cream.
That's a whole lot of dairy there.
Whole lot of dairy. A layer of cheese, and that's inside the burrito.
Yeah.
A layer of cheese is then grilled around the tortilla to offer a special experience for cheese lovers. So if all of that cheese and sour cream inside the burrito wasn't enough for you, they then grill cheese around the tortilla.
So they're finding all kinds of ways to use the milk that nobody is buying. You know what I'm saying?
Essentially.
Yeah, because we all know that farmers have been dumping milk for years and years and years. And there is, I don't know how many thousands and hundreds of thousands of pounds of cheese sitting in warehouses somewhere because it's just a glut of it. And it's just, wow, it just blows my mind that you could be at a restaurant and your choices are being dictated by an industry.
Yeah.
Not the restaurant itself, you know?
Right. Well, and it's an industry under the guise of a government agency.
Right. Yeah, because the USDA is the umbrella over the dairy checkoff. But if you look at USDairy it's a .com. It's not a .gov.
Nope.
It should be a .gov.
One would think.
But because it's all under this umbrella of the USDA, they can branch off and they're incorporated. So, I mean, I understand that. It's a business. I understand it's a business. But then they're also controlling, number one, what our kids can eat and drink in school. And number two, what our kids can eat and drink when you're out at restaurants with them.
Right. And the thing that bugs me most about this, honestly, is that it has been scientifically proven time and time again that dairy products, particularly cheese, are addictive, that they contain substances called casomorphins that attach themselves to the brain's pleasure centers in the same way as recreational drugs.
Yeah, and apparently our government, I mean, apparently everybody knows this, our government does not care about the health of its citizens.
No, not at all.
It really doesn't. I think, as a matter of fact, they would rather that everybody be sick. Because it makes more money for the medical
community. Makes more money
community.
For big pharma. And yeah, absolutely.
But it just kind of just blows my mind. Every time I read it, I get my mind blown over again to see our government pushing things that are killing its citizens.
Yeah.
You
and
know?
doing it brazenly.
Yeah.
Like they're not shy about it.
No, they're proud.
These articles,
they're proud
of it.
They are very proud of the dairy checkoff program and all the things that it does with it. It's come a long way from those the Got Milk ads.
Yeah.
Which is what it used to be. It used to be Got Milk ads and billboards and stuff like that. And now it's
magazine ads.
It's targeted advertising on social media platforms. It's insidious.
Absolutely.
So I highly recommend that you dig into this a little bit. if you're interested. There's a ton of stuff to read at usdairy.com. And check out, it's always good to know what the agriculture industry, the animal agriculture industry is doing to promote itself. It's good to know so that we know how to fight it and resist it, right?
Absolutely.
So I hope that was a little enlightening for people.
You're always enlightening, Pookie.
I don't know about that.
Just felt like a good segue.
Now, do you want to talk about a reason to be vegan? We're doing something new here.
We are doing something a little bit new. So instead of pulling from 72 reasons to be vegan, why plant-based, why now?
Running out of reasons.
Because we're kind of running out of reasons. Yeah. Or at least running out of reasons that I am...
Yeah, that we want to
talk about on the podcast. There are several that we have not gotten to.
There's a ton of health reasons that we skip over.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, the Humane League, one of our favorite animal liberation groups, has published a list of 23 reasons to go vegan in 2023. And it starts, if you've grown up eating meat, dairy, and eggs, you might want to think twice about eating these foods. Just because we've grown up believing something is normal and even essential, it doesn't mean it's the best choice for our health or the health of the world. This revelation has become clear in the midst of increasing incidences of cancer and heart disease, alongside the clear risks of climate change. These detrimental impacts have been linked to the increased consumption of meat and animal products in the U.S. and other parts of the world. Before we despair, there is another way. Plants. There are millions of people on the planet who thrive on a plant-based and even fully vegan diet, getting plenty of nutrition from fruits, vegetables, nuts, legumes, and whole grains. But what exactly is veganism, and what are some reasons to give this way of eating a try? So they go on to explain veganism in its simplest form, and then gives a whole bunch of reasons in 3 different categories. Reasons to go vegan for the animals, reasons to go vegan for health, and reasons to go vegan for the environment. So it's definitely worth checking out, and you can find that list at thehumaneleague.org. But for today, I'm going to go ahead with reason number 2 in reasons to go vegan for the animals, and that is dairy cruelty, since we're on a dairy kick today.
Yeah.
Dairy cows used to produce milk not only suffer physical tortures, but psychological abuses as well. In order to lactate, a cow must first give birth to a calf, and this calf is taken away from her almost instantly after birth. Breaking the mother-offspring bond is something many people would agree is a violation of a sacred relationship. But on dairy farms, this practice is simply considered normal. In fact, it's a linchpin of the business model. Selective breeding has also caused mother cows to produce unnaturally high volumes of milk, resulting in physical problems that can give rise to chronic pain. Combined with the feces-ridden conditions in which cows are forced to live, it becomes clear why dairy is anything but harmless.
These are good reasons, so I think we'll stick with this for a little while.
Yeah. We'll check in. Sounds good to me.
Yeah. Thank you, the Humane League, and I will link to this list if you want to peruse it yourself, or if you want to be surprised, just wait and have us talk about it.
There you go.
Uh-oh.
What?
It's time for our favorite part of the show.
Oh, that must mean it's listener shout-out time.
Just want to give a shout-out to all my fans watching. I love you guys. I love you.
This week's listener shout-out goes to Annie. We're not sure if we know Annie. Her YouTube handle is at AnnieXO3179. We're shouting Annie out because she commented on Christopher Sebastian's TED Talk that the podcast sent her there. So thank you for that comment and for listening to the show, Annie. Contact us with your t-shirt size and address so we can send you a CNC swag bag.
Yeah, and you can send that information to us at compassionandcucumbers@gmail.com, or you can DM us on Instagram or Facebook. Please let us know who you are, Annie. Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie?
You went there.
And I know anybody...
I was thinking it.
Anybody named Annie? Although I don't know, maybe depending on what generation Annie is.
Anyone of our generation.
Yeah.
Named Annie.
Yeah.
has been asked that question.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Ad nauseum, probably.
Yes. So serious bonus points to anyone listening who gets that reference.
Yeah. And hey, do you want to get a listener shout out like Annie? Well, you can just send us a DM or an email letting us know that you listen and tell us a little bit about yourself so we can talk you up on the show.
There you go. Real simple. Now, since we are no longer doing fundraisers for organizations through our Buy Me a Coffee, because Buy Me a Coffee takes too large a cut and all of that good stuff.
Thank you, everybody that's given to any of our campaigns.
Absolutely. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. But instead, we're just going to highlight a vegan organization of the week. And this week, we are highlighting Animal Outlook. Animal Outlook is a national nonprofit 501c3 animal advocacy organization based in Washington, D.C. and Los Angeles, California. They are strategically challenging animal agribusiness through undercover investigations, legal advocacy, corporate and food system reform, and disseminating information about the many harms of animal agriculture, empowering everyone to choose vegan.
Yes, and I'm going to include a link in our show notes about how you can get involved. They are actually, right now, Animal Outlook is looking for private investigators to infiltrate the animal agriculture industry.
Wow.
It's a job that requires travel, even though when you click on it, it says it's remote work. Well, what they mean by that is you're going to be traveling to whatever agriculture manufacturing what the hell am I talking about?
Organization.
Right. And then I'm assuming that you will report back, virtually on using your computer. But yeah, it does require some travel. So if you're interested in traveling, becoming an undercover investigator, it is, I'm sure, a very difficult job.
Yes.
Because you have to become
Essentially one of the workers.
Yeah, you have to become one of the workers. You can't engage with the animals in any way other than what you're supposed to. You can't mention the fact that you're vegan. You can't, of course, mention the fact that you're with Animal Outlook.
Right.
You have to become part of the team.
You have to become part of the system. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I'm sure that, I know we have spoken with people that have done that for a living, and it's kind of brutal.
It is.
But it's important work.
Absolutely.
And that brings us to our wrap up. Because we said goodbye to the housekeeping section.
We did.
Bye-bye, housekeeping section.
Outstanding choice.
Yeah, I think it was too. As always, we encourage you to join the AFA Vegan Voter Hub and support them in any way that you can, because the Agriculture Fairness Alliance is lobbying in D.C. on our behalf so that our vegan voices are heard. If you want to be included in the conversation, join the Voter Hub today. The link is always in the show notes.
And that brings us to our sign off. So you have just listened to episode 104 of the Compassion and Cucumbers podcast. There's nothing left to say, but where cukes and compassion are always the fashion on the
podcast.
Oh, we're singing today.
I guess.
I didn't realize. Thanks, James.
Have a great week, everybody.
Talk to you next Tuesday.
We love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
The end.